Hey, what's up, fellow gamers? I'm here to cover the round 4 GP match of GP Lafayette between InfinityChef and 6000J. And my name is Dodger, of course. I am doing this while Caillou cannot come, which makes me, of course, the superior commentator, but we all knew that already. So anyway, 6KJ is running 6KJ's patented Xira combo deck with, I believe, some improvements from the last version. I could be mistaken, but I believe it's different from the last version that 6KJ ran in GP Chemloops. So 6KJ's combo is basically to use Xira Scatter of Seeds with a, I believe the card is called Border Guardian. I could be wrong, but it's basically a 2-card combo that gets you infinite mana, and then you go ahead and play something that lets you use that infinite mana to do the thing. InfinityChef is basically playing a Dredge style deck where you have a bunch of cards that let you abuse the graveyard's energies for very little mana, and then you can make a bunch of creatures earlier than you're supposed to be able to and beat them up. So this is kind of the epitome of what we would call a linear matchup. Basically, like, both these decks are kind of just looking to do their thing, and whoever gets to do their thing faster will probably win the game. Okay, so 6KJ has opted to cast Exploring the Mirror Worlds. Importantly, 6KJ has both Xira and Beacon of the Wild in hand, which means that that Beacon of the Wild can find a Border Guardian. So, okay, so we got the Forest coming out. Chef actually does not run any basics, so Exploring the Mirror Worlds is just a 1-mana instant rampant growth. Seems pretty good. Now, unfortunately, 6KJ does not have enough mana to cast back into the wild for Border Guardian and have Xira, so it's going to need to wait another turn. I don't think Chef is capable of getting the what's the word? I don't think Chef's is capable of doing lethal damage on the next turn. So I feel like 6KJ should have this in the bag. I don't really know what the I don't think you have to be worried. Basically, there isn't really any burst damage coming out of this deck except for another Putrid Lurker. But that would only add 3 damage, and Chef can maybe at most get up to 9. Okay, so we're seeing Gellard's Ascension coming out. You can even get a creature here and just 6KJ is just looking for the Diasone Immolator, I assume. And that'll give you a way to use that infinite mana to win the game. You can also get Caller of the Wild, I guess, but that's just like skipping that's like just adding an extra step. If you wanted to, you could also get you could also just go get Border Guardian here, and then you'd have, okay, so it looks like it's going to be Caller of Hunger. Okay. That makes sense. So once you have infinite mana, you might as well just run Caller of Hunger so that you can potentially go search out. Okay, so Caller of Hunger comes in as the blocker. I think this makes sense. You're not really going to need to block, or you're not going to want to block, but this does at least give you the potential to block if you. Okay. I don't really see the logic here, to be honest. You're giving up your win next turn for dubious reasons. You weren't in danger of dying. Oh, okay, well, just if you top deck Scion of Fecundity, then I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know. I guess I just don't really see the reason to block with the Caller. I mean, all it's doing is saving you 3 damage, which is the difference between 9 and 6. Chef is not presenting a lethal board, and you're also... Okay, so why are you just not going for the win here? Is it because of Choking Mirage? Because Chef's got 1 copy of Choking Mirage in his deck, I believe. I played against Chef in round 2, so I remember I studied Chef's deck list before, and there's only one copy. Okay, so it's another Caller of Hunger. Oh, no, it's a Xira. Okay. Yeah, so I have to say, I think Chef. I think 6KJ is playing too scared here. You are using your combo pieces to block when you don't need to, and you're not going for the instant win. You're not going for the instant win because you're afraid of one card in your opponent's deck. If I can just double check real quick. I'm fairly certain. Let me check here. InfinityChef. On InfinityChef's deck, one's one Choking Despair. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think that is an example of playing scared. If that's the only card that that actually punishes you in that situation, that just seems like really okay, whatever. So we're getting the Scion of Fecundity coming out here. I guess getting 2 zeros here is fine. It means that if okay, so I expect 6KJ will probably try to go for the win here, and I think this should be. So I guess if you feel that that you can afford to live another turn, it's okay to go for this because now you have the backup of being able to run out of second Xira and stuff. I'm curious why Chef passed the turn without casting anything. Like why not cast even just the Vangle from Graveyard? Or I guess you won't activate Dark Red Cultist. Okay, never mind. Okay, so that resolves. Yeah. The game's over. 6KJ's plan is basically Beckon of the Wild for the Border Guardian, and then go ahead and make infinite mana, and then you can just get back the Scion from the graveyard, and then go find Caller of Hunger, or Diasynth Immolator, just skip a step, and the game's over. Okay, I have to rescind my previous statement a little bit. I actually think that I think that this is a fairly smart play from 6KJ, just because making sure yes, it's one card in your opponent's deck, but it is a card that you need to worry about. So taking the time to do a little bit of due diligence and be okay, I'm fairly confident the combo that I can afford to make this block, and I'm not going to, I'll have another turn to go ahead and just set up a little bit more. What? Okay, so this I really disagree with because yes, you can combo off at instant speed, but also Choking Despair is a card that can be cast for no mana. So I'm not really sure what you're gaining by just allowing Chef to draw another card. Yes, maybe Chef ends up discarding those 4 cards, but I think that's kind of unlikely for Chef to do all on next turn. Now we do know that Chef does have Jing the Lucky Charm in hand and could potentially go for Occultist Jing play. In which case 6AJ can just go off in response and win. But I still think you should just go for this without allowing Chef to draw the extra card, because you don't know for sure that your opponent is going to do that Jing play. So I think from 6KJ's perspective, choosing to do this at instant speed is a little dubious. I don't know. We'll see. So this demon's coming down, right? Theoretically, you could also end up losing your Xira. Oh, okay. Oh, it looks like 6KJ is going for it now. Okay, you can, yeah. So you can Beckon for Caller. You can make infinite mana, Beckon for Caller. And then what? Yeah, sorry. So the game should be won here. I think that so essentially there's no point to letting your opponent more, or I guess theoretically, I mean, you can still win the game with infinite mana right now. Beckoning of the Wild can be cast at instant speed. I don't know. Okay. you just could win the game, but you're not going to. Oh, wait. Let me read Collar of Hunger. Ah, only Sorcerer Speed. Yeah, like, I don't know. I just... Personally, I really disagree with the decision to just not win the game. Like, if you were going to play around... I don't know. Okay, there's the concession. I mean, like, this is kind of splitting hairs. Like, I do think the decision for 6KJ to wait another turn was intelligent, and I retract my earlier statement on that. I just, like, I don't know. When you're playing against a deck like Dredge, which their way of interacting with you is just to try to kill you, like, you should not be that concerned with playing around the one-off outs, especially when your deck is so resilient and your hand has so many ways to search up additional combo pieces. Like, you saw that 6KJ was able to just go ahead and get the Xira. Like, I don't know, but whatever. Let's look at the sideboard. So, an important thing when you're playing with Xira, you need to be able to interact at instant speed to stop the combo. Seal of Tomb is not going to cut it. Choking Despair is for sure coming in. Stay Determined doesn't really do anything because you'll still get milled out and die to the Immolator. Duress seems like something that could come in if you want to, like, take away the Gallard's Ascension and stuff. That seems like a reasonable pick on the play. It will make your deck function worse, but, like, I think it's something that probably needs to be done. You can cut stuff like the Silent Wanderer. That doesn't really clock your opponent enough. You can perhaps cut the Dark Rite Cultist. That is kind of slow as well. Although Dark Rite Cultist does kill quickly once, like, you actually activate it. It's more like how willing are you as Chef to dilute your game plan a little bit in order to include a card that can potentially screw your opponent over. I think Choking Despair is an absolute slam dunk, though. Like, once you have 4 copies, it's now a card that 6KJ needs to legitimately play around. If you're 6KJ, I think that looking here, it's hard to say exactly what you want. I think Gaowu is a good pick because it'll shut off a lot of the attackers, and then the ones that it doesn't will probably get first striked. I think that something like Stand Unassailable is probably also nice. Just like you gain 7, that's basically like a time walk against Dredge. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're getting off to a good start. Looks like both players kept 7. Chef is discarding. Oh no, Chef kept 6. Okay. So Chef leads off with a pretty strong opener. Spires to discard Shing, which then discards Schengen, Renegade, Guild Gulch, and this other card, Mousecrafter. It's a free shock, a free, whatchamacallit? Well, the ability to play a 1-mana 3/1, and also a free treasure. Okay, this is a pretty disgusting opener, actually. This is probably... Oh, man, that is about one of the better openers you could ask for. So, like, the only problem is there's no Nightmare Riders. I think if you had a Nightmare Riders in here, instead of, like, that Choking Despair, that's, like, the absolute nut draw. Overall, though, I think if you're Chef, you're happy with this draw. This kills in about 3 turns, depending on what you draw, so, like... there's definitely going to be pressure on the other side. I think if you're 6KJ, I don't know if you actually play the Exploring the Mirror Worlds here. Taking 2 damage is a legitimate cost. Okay, so taking 2 damage I think is rough because you're basically exposing yourself to, like, now you're down in 3 turns. Which is certainly something to be concerned about. Okay, so we got Gilded Gulch drawn for Chef. So, I mean, there's really nothing to think about here if you're Chef. You just attack for 5 and pass. There's no reason to play Gilded Gulch here. So you might need a discard. You might need to discard a card later, so might as well just attack. If 6KJ doesn't have the Exploring the Mirror Worlds here, I actually think this game's just doomed. Being able to go get a land here is really good, though. And I think that, given that there's already a Xira and a Gellert Ascension, you could just go for the turn 3 kill if you Gallords for Border Guardian, and then just win the game next turn. And that would actually mean 6KJ actually outraces. We'll see if 6KJ goes for that play. Maybe 6KJ will try to play around the... okay. See, I don't agree with this play because... first of all, Chef only has Future Lurker as another card that could really come down as a threat, but, like, honestly... like, Chef played out the hand, and Chef's basically just gonna be like, okay, can I kill you quickly enough? I think you just need to, like, go for the win here. I think it's a very safe bet. Chef actually doesn't have the cards in hand to successfully get the... okay, so Chef is casting Sewer Pack. That's actually pretty huge, allowing that Sewer Pack to attack fast. I think now that, from Chef's perspective, you should just attack with everything. Sewer Pack doesn't have haste. Am I wrong? No. Okay, so... yeah, okay, 6KJ realized the second pack doesn't have haste. You don't have to block here if you're 6KJ, I guess. I mean, you're gonna, but you don't have to. Okay. So now we gotta wait another turn before the combo's online. Alright. I expect the Ascension to come out here. You can go Ascension plus Caller to block if you want, and you still have another Caller in hand, so, like, that should be the play. The problem is you have to pay 2 life to do that. Okay, so 6KJ is still refusing to cast the Gallard's Ascension. I'm really not sure why. I don't know, man. It feels like... okay, so Departed Evangel. That's an alright draw. You're gonna see the block there, yeah. I honestly think Chef should have just swung with everything there. Getting 2 damage in there really matters, and, like, 6KJ is not gonna block the 1-2. Like, 6KJ will go down to 2 life if they do that, which would put them within... oh. Okay, the stand on assailable draw is huge. Absolutely massive. Yeah, I think... okay, you just go Gallards and then stand on assailable and the game's over, right? I would assume that's how it works. Yeah. Yeah, I think you don't have to worry about Choking Despair because Chef, there's no way Chef's gonna have enough cards in hand. So really, like, yeah, that Sewer Pack is a dead draw. Yeah, game's over. This is the problem with Chef's deck, essentially, is that, like, if your opponent just doesn't die to the initial onslaught, you win the game. You lose the game. Like, there's nothing that you can really do to recoup card advantage once you've just dumped your hand onto the table, you know? So that is definitely a weakness of the deck. Okay, so we're going to see Xira, we're going to see Border Guardian, we're going to see Caller of Hunger, and the game is over. I think, like, so I think the way 6KJ played that game was fine, but I still think that like you should just go for the turn 4 win there, because I believe it was impossible for Chef to have lethal, or sorry, the turn 3 win there, because I believe it was impossible for Chef to have lethal. I believe it was impossible for Chef to cast Choking Despair the next turn. I also think that like you didn't need to play the second Collar of Hunger to block, because that means like if you lose that Collar of Hunger, then you might have to pay 2 life next turn to play the third blocker that you then will need, and also the Gallows Ascension, and then that kind of sets you behind a little bit. But overall, I think 6KJ did a good job respecting the opponent's outs, playing around, you know, a couple important pieces of interaction. And so overall, I think that was a great match. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble about custom Magic, and I believe that means we'll see 6KJ in the top 8 of the tournament, while we will not see InfinityChef. Cool, so that's going to be all from me. Until next time, see you guys later.